The Dark Realm is a difficult place to live. Plants grow weakly and twisted in the lack of sunlight. Mercenary work and banditry are rife, as it pays more than basic farming or hunting. The realm at large is ruled over from the great city of Guardia, an overpopulated, sinful place ruled over by a baleful king that we haven't seen in years. There is an elven kingdom to the south, ruled by the sequestered shadow elves, a dwarven kingdom lost to the mountains of the west, and a tiefling kingdom among the volcanic rock of the islands in the north. Great patches of our land are poisoned and deserted. There are tribal villages, beasts, goblins, and orc warbands, of course, but we're trapped here. The mists are a mystery. Most who enter them never return. Those that do are changed in such a way that they are unrecognizable or utterly insane. Nothing comes out of the mist, but it surrounds us, calls out, poisons, frightens. Couple that with the almost endless darkness, and the Dark Realm is a very difficult place to live.
Murlin. You don't remember how you got here, but you find yourself falling backwards, and as you strike the ground, it is cold and wet as if you've fallen into an inch of water. There is darkness around you for a moment before you see your long-lost love. And she stands ahead of you with light falling around her, spilling across her hair and clothing. And she holds out a hand for you to take it, but she's very far away from you. What do you do?
I would get up and walk towards her so I can reach it.
The light that is spilling across her turns purple in color. It flashes and pulses, and in a flash she is gone. Behind her there is now an enormous tower. You must not allow Arias to get to this tower before you do. He is your counterpart, but he serves the Child of Darkness, and you are the only one who can counteract him. Salt and pepper, hot and cold, black and white, sunset and sunrise, dark and light. This world, your realm, is on the precipice of a decision that will shape it forever, and you have died, yet your work is not done. Do you continue to try and walk forwards towards the lights?
Murlin does without any hesitation.
You fall, as if the next step you take is into a deep body of water. Your sense of form lost. As you hit this body of water, you spill out into it, losing your corporeal form. And you return now. And as you do so, you hear the words Vita, Mutatur, non Tollitur. And slowly but surely, you wake up. Around you are the worried faces of Fix and Will and a relaxed now Vita flying around above where you are. You appear to be on a cold slab of stone in this huge room, and your memories start to come back of being burned, of being hit by one of these huge waves of heat, and then while you were struggling to stay conscious, smaller explosions from these magma dogs. There is still this sense of burning. You can smell a lot of fire and that kind of molten rock. But the chaos and the noise in here has died down to an almost nothing. You can probably hear Fix and Will panicking and moving around you before you open your eyes. For Will and Fix, as you look at Murlin, you see now that Murlin has huge dark bags under his eyes. And his eyes are red. The iris of his eyes are a dark red that gets a little lighter and lighter towards the center of his now very small pupil. Your chest is burning, Murlin, and as you naturally reach up to feel and grab at it, you sense that the skin underneath there is wrong. And on your chest you have this scar, very carefully knitted flesh that says the words Vita Mutatur non Tollitur. And Fix, you recognize this writing as the same kinds of scribbles that you've seen a few times in Arias's work. And Will, you recognize this writing as the same writing that was on your pendant. Though the words are different, you recognize it to be very similar symbols. Also, some of those symbols appeared on the walls and on the graves, and in your mind palace previously you would have seen these things propping up. Murlin, you feel absolutely terrible, for the record. You feel hungry, but not really for any food. You feel cold. Your body feels sluggish, as if heavy or heavier than it was. There is a strange sense to your body now, as your heart isn't beating. You have no pulse, and your blood is thickening inside of your skin. Your skin, which is very cold. When Will and Fix look at you, the only thing I can think that you would maybe think yourself is that they look kind of tasty. Fire is still unconscious a little further down into the cave. What do you guys do as Murlin now wakes up?
I think Murlin would scurry right on over to Fire and check if she's okay.
Yeah, Murlin kind of gets up and scurries across. The way he moves is strange and different to how you guys would remember him moving, even if he runs across on all fours. He moves a little slower than he did. Merlin's character has lost 2 dexterity, gained 2 con, but gained 1 strength as well. And the way he moves reflects that for you guys. He doesn't seem as dexterous as he was. Rushing over towards where Fire is, Murlin, you see that she just appears to be unconscious for now, as if maybe she's taken a blow to the head.
Yeah, I think rather than say or even address Murlin at all, I would just kind of sneak a look over to Fix instead that says, like, what? It's kind of confusion. Like, torn between saying, hey, you're alive, and just, what the heck is wrong with you?
Merlin? Are you okay?
I think then it would just occur to Murlin that he's not quite himself, and he's just looking down on his hands and maybe perhaps feeling at his chest the burning sensation. What happened?
I glance at Will, just kind of give him the same look back. Like,
Welcome to the club. You perished in battle, and yet you're still moving.
I feel no pulse in my veins, no beat in my heart, no breath.
I go over and kneel in front of Merlin and like check for a pulse manually and kind of like give him a once over.
You don't need to make any checks for this. I don't think there is no pulse. He's a dead body. He feels cold to the touch. He has his skin as well to feel. You press your fingers to his wrist, and his skin sits in a little as you depress your fingers to the wrist. It takes a very long time for his skin to rise back up to normalcy. He's almost a little doughy to the touch, very cold, but there's absolutely no pulse, no heartbeat. Yet he's moving and speaking generally the same way he would. It's odd, or maybe disturbing.
Well, I can't feel a pulse, but I don't know if that's just me.
I'm just going to abruptly activate Divine Sense.
He's a zombie. He's exactly the same thing as the zombies that were attacking you either in the town or at the beginning of the campaign. He's that type of an undead. He is simply a dead body with Merlin still in it, or moving around, or acting as if he were fully alive. But yeah, from any technical point of view, he is absolutely undead. He is able to remain in some way, but he is a zombie. He would have to be very cautious from now on about wounds and things. He probably doesn't bleed, but he is also not going to heal correctly.
I'm gonna kneel down in front of Murlin, so I'm eye level with him, and kind of hold up my own hand and compare it, like, and he can tell that I'm scanning him. He's seen Divine Sense before, and kind of like comparing myself to him, and like just observing the difference, because we've both now been through the dead and return phase, but it looks very different on him.
I grab Will's wrist and check your pulse. You bleed, and you obviously have a pulse, and whatever happened to you is not the same.
Agreed. The force that brought him back and the one that reanimated me are not the same. He's actually dead. I feel in my case it's more like the death was undone or prevented in some way. Whereas he's just moving in spite of it.
Merlin, how do you feel?
Well, I'm not going to lie, I don't feel at my best, but I think I'm more worried about fire.
Agreed. He's up on his feet and moving around. We'll deal with that in a second. And I'm gonna turn to fire instead. And try to sit her up against that nearby low wall that we were fighting next to before. Just kind of lean her against it.
She did it. But at what
succeeded.
cost?
Exactly. What was the price she paid for this? How do we know she didn't give up her own life to bring him back?
Wait,
I'm gonna
did she
check-
bring
I'm gonna-
me back?
I'm gonna check
I go to
her
check
pulse.
her pulse.
At the same time.
We probably clash hands.
Each-
We're just like,
Each of us grab a different wrist. Just
Yeah. You, again, you don't really need to make a check for this, I don't think. When you are checking her over, this looks, similar to what I think both of you will have experienced in seeing each other when you have had your eyes roll up in your head and fall over. Whenever you commune with the mist or any beings that are in the mist, you seem to almost astral project, like a piece of yourself leaves your body behind and another piece of yourself, your consciousness, your soul, whatever it is that you think it might be, your spirit enters into a kind of separate plane, or is removed from you in some way, or is dislocated from you in some way. However, your body remains fine. You're still breathing. She has a heartbeat. For all intents and purposes, she's essentially just knocked out. She appears to just be asleep. If you were to lift an eyelid, you would see that her eyes are rolled up into her head. But she doesn't have any damage, save for the damage that she took during the previous combats and stuff. There isn't anything else going on here. She certainly doesn't appear to be dead, unconscious.
I take off my cloak and make her comfortable. At least she's still here, kind of.
right. But where's the rest of her?
How long was I out for?
Brad? I don't remember.
You, both of you have experienced quite long stretches of time. Both Fix, you had a long set of questions that you were speaking with Shamsiel about previously, and you would have been out for seconds, like less than 5 seconds. Will, you went through a full experience where you solved the puzzles when you were doing the exploration of the rooms and the combat, and you were out for less than a minute, and Fire's been out for a pretty long time here, multiple minutes.
The timing of it has been kind of unpredictable, but I do recall carrying you around for a while when we were running from those shadows in the woods. So she could be out for a few minutes. I wouldn't suspect more than 10 minutes, though.
So it could mean nothing, I suppose. I came out of that fine.
If there's one thing that's been consistent here, at least, after these visions or communing or whatever this is, we have come back every time, so there's that. She
Right.
probably just needs a bit of time.
But the headaches get worse every time.
True.
I kind of set
Murlin.
to work, like, going over some of Fire's wounds a little bit and just trying to, like, clean her up a little bit and taking care of her.
I think Murlin would begin to distance himself a little bit because he's, starting to drool and maybe perhaps find Fire a little appetizing as his stomach lets out a big growl. I think I'm just gonna sit by this, slab here and just watch.
Well, then your appetite hasn't changed, has it?
I think it's too soon to tell. Maybe it's just been a while since we've had something to eat.
I offer Murlin some of my rations. Does this look appealing?
I think Murlin would look at it in disgust and just shake his head. It's quite all right. Fixed. Thank you.
Of all the things we've seen so far, that is by far the most disturbing.
Now I look really alarmed.
Okay, we'll add that to the list of things to think about. Where do we even start? The ghostly visions. The magma beast. I haven't even told you all the things I saw when I tried to save Murlin. I'm sure Fire's gonna have some stories.
I didn't finish getting through what the ghosts said out there in the yard either. There was a tad more to it. We were rudely interrupted.
Yeah.
I just... Merlin. What did
Yes.
it look like? Where were you? How did it feel?
I don't know. It was just... I was surrounded by nothing but darkness, but I did, get a glimpse of the tower.
An infinite sea of blackness in every direction, yes?
Precisely.
You and I have been to the same place.
How did you come back? What happened? How did you know?
I saw no tower. I saw no nothing. I simply followed the only source of light I could see, and that ended up being the sun.
Merlin?
Well, right before I saw the tower, I caught a glimpse of, well, Fiona. She, well, I guess you can say, she's a dear friend to me, and she reached out to me. But when I tried to take her hand, it just, it got me nowhere. Just to the tower.
Presumably then we went to the same place, but we saw different things. And the real question here is just why... We've both been changed in some way or another, but the changes could not be more opposite. You don't think?
Well,
If there's a child of light and a child of darkness and they're diametrically opposed to each other, it could be the forces that reanimated us were also on opposite sides of this disagreement.
or it could simply be that you didn't die in the mist. You've heard it time and time again, this place changes people.
Both statements could also be true.
Agreed.
Do you know what this says? I'm gonna turn the little sun medallion I'm wearing around to Murlin and show him the word Renaskator written on the back of it.
You cannot read it, Merlin.
I'm sorry, Will. I can't say this is familiar to me.
It was worth a shot. It just... The text, the symbols, it's the same as what's written on you. Same language, maybe.
Would I recognize the phrase on Merlin? It's in a different language, right? So there's no way I'd know.
You recognize elements of it, probably by now as being a recurring kind of script, but it's certainly not something you can read or understand very well.
And
have any
once
id-
again, we are left with more questions than answers.
Yeah, as always. Do you have any idea what it means, Merlin?
Yes, you do know what this one means. It says, to you and to your eye, life is changed, not taken away.
life is changed and not taken away. That's my understanding of it.
Is that a joke? That's exactly what Carmen used to say. That's exactly why Vita is named Vita.
Curious.
You can read that, but not this.
No.
Does that mean that the being that was inside Carmen is somehow connected to whatever did this to you? Is that where she got the phrase from? I hate that.
The being that was inside her, was it
Demon.
not connected in some... Yes, that one. Was it not connected in some way to yours? Perhaps they communicated in some way.
When I asked the Mist to help Murlin, I asked the most powerful being that I could think of, which was the demon. And I found out that its name is Shamsil. And Shamsil is the demon king of ice. And the demon king of ice seems to be at war with the demon king of fire, Balroth. Now, Carmen's demon was a fire demon, as you saw, because we had to fight her.
A war because they're different, or a war because of territory?
It's
Wonder
hard
what
to
caused that.
say. One thing I know is that the Shamsil is interested in killing the Child of Darkness also. And he wants to kill the Demon King of Fire to get there. And the worst news, possibly, is that we just killed the King of Fire's son.
I don't know if we want to go making deals with demons here.
Might be a bit late for that.
I don't think I have any way of undoing that deal, I'm afraid. And I start unbuckling my gauntlet. And I slowly slide it off, kind of with difficulty because it's been dented and hit so hard over the last few fights. But eventually I pull it all the way off, and rather than a hand and an arm, you see it's entirely made of ice, all the way up to nearly the shoulder. It moves like a hand, and I sit there and stare at it for a while, as if I haven't seen it for quite a while. But it looks like a dark ice, and now I've taken the gauntlet off, you could probably feel the cold a bit more, like it's more, it feels more malevolent and more freezing aura around it.
I would think even if, Murlin being dead now and all he feels is cold, he would, well, he would most definitely feel the intensity of your hand.
This is what Arias left me with. This is one of the connections I have with this Shamsil. Every time I've talked to the Mists, my arm has disappeared. The power that I have stolen from him disappears. I don't know what that means for the future. I also know when we were in that cave with Carmen, before we found her, the entire time, it was aching. It was hurting in a way I've never felt before. And it terrified me. I can only assume now that that's because it felt the presence of something to do with the fire demon. Whatever way you slice it, we've accidentally got ourselves involved in something far bigger than we anticipated.
True. How old were you when it took your arm?
15, maybe 14.
By the gods, you were just a child.
We all were. And he... I think I mentioned before, but I'm sure he's refined his techniques now, but this was his last-ditch effort, I suppose. I was forced to make the pact to survive, and he knew that I would die if I didn't do something. But I didn't know at the time what I was getting myself into.
Arise, and these things are twisted.
This
Sorry,
is
you had to
all
go
in his
through that.
attempt to work with the Child of Darkness. Do you think he even knew what he was connecting us to? Do you think he knew he was connecting us to the Demon King of Ice? That's insane.
I think he still doesn't know. You recall how he was grasping at straws, how he sent us out here to investigate on his behalf? He has large gaps in his knowledge. He's trifling with forces even he doesn't understand.
In his notes, though, the Child of Darkness, and he knew of Shamsiel. He knew there was the name in the notes everywhere.
Perhaps they spoke at some point. Or perhaps he gleaned it from some writing somewhere.
I realize I may have made a mistake. When I was trying to bring Murlin back, I asked Shamsiel to bring back the wizard. And then I wasn't very precise with my wording because I assumed he wouldn't know what Murlin meant. And he said that there was another wizard siphoning from them. So he must be aware of Orias.
Right, and their perception of our world is probably a bit different.
He is aware of beyond the mist, which is interesting. They must be aware of the lands outside of the mist, but what do they understand about it?
I wonder if Fire learned anything during her conversations.
I just want her to wake up.
I don't know if this is going to work since she doesn't appear to be physically injured, but who knows? Maybe she'll feel something. I'm gonna put my fingers right on the side of Fire's temple and kind of test and use a single point of lay on hands to restore.
Hello, welcome back to the stream. I've had many OBS issues today, and we blame Orias. So, Will, you place 2 fingers to the side of Fire's temple and restore a point of sanity.
Well, I say 1 point. I'm more so just testing to see if I can. If anything happens, like I don't know if it's gonna work.
It does work. However, Fire. You are running from something. Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
No, welcome back. 16.
16 is just good enough. Do you know what you are running from?
No. The image in my head is my brother, scary, but I don't know if that's it.
Roll me a perception check.
Five.
A 5. You turn, expecting the image of your brother, maybe a huge spider-like creature chasing after you. When did you even start running? What are you running from, and why? You don't remember. Your surroundings are of a thick, overgrown forest. Not your home forest, not the forest that you've been moving through. Here, the trees are much, much larger than you would expect them to be here. They're so tall that you can't even see the canopy. Ahead of you, there is several cracks in the ground. Several pieces of the ground are falling away and into a darkness. And as these pieces of the ground fall apart in front of you, there is smoke or mist or steam lifting up from the holes. Roll me an acrobatics check.
13.
A 13. I'm going to send you 2 phrases. And I want you to tell me which one of them is true.
The second one.
Okay. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
$11.
The second phrase is true or more true. Why?
I don't think anyone's truly sane.
Is that to make you feel better? Or is that what you actually believe?
I think it's something that's made up. People made it up and say that they are sane or insane to cope.
Roll me an insight check.
Six.
You don't trust your own words. Why?
Why should I? I don't feel right.
You have not been running for a long time. You vaguely remember running from something at some point. Then you began contemplating something, a phrase or a belief maybe. But there is an element to this contemplation where you feel as if you kind of floated away from your own understanding of where you are, what you were doing, why you were doing it. There is a long way back. You were running for a long time. Roll me a d20.
8.
You were maybe swimming or drowning for a long time. But for a longer time than even those 2 times put together, you've been sat still, alone in this place, an endless darkness of nothing. You can see 6 strings floating up from your body. As you focus on your hands and focus on your feet, you can see that there are strings coming from the backs of your hands and from the tops of your feet. You get the sense that there is another string somewhere on your body, and it takes you a good long amount of time to focus on your chest, seeing a string pulled up and out from where your heart would be. Where the 6th string is, you hear a sound like a snip. As the string above you floats away, you see it floating upwards and away from you. What do you do?
Try to grab it.
You wake up. Suddenly, Will, you place your fingers to Fire's temple and you successfully restore a single sanity point. And as you do so, Fire's hand reaches out towards you, gripping at your shoulders and at your armor and padding. Fire, you wake up suddenly. There is a horrible headache and sense of dislocation waking up immediately. Very confused for a moment. When you and your eyes focus for a moment in this kind of dark and empty giant room, much of your memories very quickly flood back, and then you focus and realize that it is Will looking down at you, and you are waking up from a terrible nightmare or sleep state. There is a sense of loss. And bit by bit, pieces of what you remember while you were asleep come back to you, but not fully. The sense of asking questions, of begging for Murlin to return, a sense of drowning, a sense of running and fleeing from something, a sense of the words sanity is a cozy lie just keep rolling around in your head. You can't stop this phrase rolling around and rolling around and rolling around. And the sense of these strings and that you've lost something. But generally, it's that odd feeling of losing the dream very quickly after waking up. Feels like you lose the dream, but in its place, the memory of what was going on earlier on comes back to you and floods back to you, and you get the sense that you've been asleep for a little while. For Will, Fix, and Murlin, fire has been out for about 30 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, as soon as she wakes up and reaches out or grabs me or whatever, I'll take my other hand and just kind of put it over hers and say, hey, you're all right. It's us. Are you okay?
Is Murlin okay?
You did it. He's up and moving around. He's I'll kind of turn and look at Fix again. He's looked better. But he's back.
How are you feeling?
We killed the thing. We're out of danger for the moment.
Well, what happened down there?
I don't...
Take a second to get your wits back about you if you need to.
Sorry.
You see me like touching my heart and my hands, and I don't know.
Is
I think
something
I
missing?
lost something. I don't know. If that makes sense. Just a feeling.
Just give it a moment and see if you still feel the same in a few minutes. Being on the verge of death does strange things to you. And I don't just mean like me, I mean everyone. Where's Murlin?
Murlin was sitting on a slab nearby, but
Is he?
I
Is
would
he like
think
facing away?
No, I think he had his eyes set on fire this entire time, and I think he would begin to inch forward towards her. And once he got up close enough, he would look up at her with his soulless red eyes.
Fire just grabs your head and pulls you in. Like a way too aggressive hug.
He hugs back.
I'm so relieved you're okay.
Don't ever do that again.
Not my intention.
Welcome back, both of you.
We'll kind of push you away and just grab your shoulders. Do you feel okay?
I'm no longer alive. Fire.
You look it. No
For
offense.
now.
On the bright side, you won't be eating our rations anymore.
My thoughts precisely.
How sure are we that's a good thing, guys?
Pretty sure.
Well, it depends how strong your new impulses are, I suppose.
It also depends what else has changed. Hunger is probably not the only side effect. Even the way you move is different.
Well, what
Yes.
happens if you lose a finger? Like fire? Can Will actually put it back on?
No. And he would then move about his fingers, and you would see that his joints are very stiff.
Okay.
I would
No
imagine if
touching
it's
potions for you.
understood.
I don't have any experience with this sort of thing. Can I talk to you for a moment, Will? Just
Of course.
nothing important. Just, normal.
Yeah, just a moment. Murlin, when we get a second, just to know the answer, I should check and see at some point if I'm able to heal you or not. Maybe a matter of life and death later, we should discover the answer now. Unless you can already feel. If you already know.
I immediately take Merlin aside and start, quizzing him about everything. I've got my notebook out, and I'm, trying to take down all the differences that Merlin feels like he can feel, and I can see.
Right, yeah, you sort that, and I'll walk off with Fire then. Out of earshot. What's on your mind? Well, which of the many things on your mind would you like to discuss?
If Murlin is dead, if Murlin is a dead body, right?
He is. I can feel it.
Dead bodies, they decompose over time?
Yes.
Have we
They do.
considered? So are we on a...
A ticking clock?
Yeah,
Perhaps not. We've seen undead stand up and move around as nothing but bones and a skeleton. Worst case scenario. We have a very small skeleton following us around, although I'm not sure that might impact his ability to speak. I feel like we perhaps have bigger problems at the moment, like getting out of the mist alive, but we do need to figure out what's going to happen to him long term. And we don't know if this is permanent or not. We also don't know if it's reversible.
okay. I just, dead bodies, it kind of happens quickly. They kind of break down.
I agree.
I didn't make a
What a-
mistake, right?
Fire. We're all guessing. And if you didn't do it, I would have. I was half a second from doing it myself. So, don't blame yourself. This would have happened one way or the other, with or without your input.
Okay.
Besides that, I think it's pretty clear we all share a common purpose. Do you think if Murlin was given the choice, he would have just stayed dead, left us out here alone? Or do you think he would have come back to finish the job we all set out on?
He would have come back.
Take some solace in that. You did what he wanted, not necessarily what you wanted. And the price we're all going to end up paying for that in the long run? Well, none of us can see the future, can we? We'll take this one step at a time. What about you? Do you still feel like you're missing something?
It's like when you wake up from a dream, and for a second you can remember it, and then it fades, and you can't. You know it's somewhere, but you can't get to it again. I don't know.
I know the feeling you described, but only from when I've actually had dreams that I couldn't remember. I should be dead 4 times over by now, Fire. 3 times in the army and once at Grant's Refuge. The last one was kind of cheating, though. Every time before that, though, I just woke up and everything was numb. Numb and shocked. What you're describing doesn't sound the same. In fact, you almost look no worse for the wear, so... Hopefully communing with the mist here doesn't have any lasting effects.
Hopefully. Is Murlin okay? I mean, not
I'll
physically.
talk to him.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him. I think he and I share a rather unique sensation at this point, but it feels so hollow coming from me. We may have both gone to a similar place, but he came back very, very different than I did. If anything, the force that brought me back, I've only been made better for it. I can see in the dark now. I can move faster now. I can channel light and magic now. There's not really any downside that I can see. It's just made me a better version of me. But him? He's been robbed of his essence. I don't know. I feel like I should say something to him, but I'm also kind of worried it's going to come across as a cheap platitude, you know? How could I understand?
Just say that then. Say I want to say something to you, but I'm afraid it might come off as a cheap platitude. Just say it.
This very much reminds me of having to tell people their husbands and wives were dead when we went home.
Well, it's kind of
Same.
similar, except your husband's dead, but then we brought him back and now he's, walking dead.
It's the same sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach every time I had to tell someone that. But you're right. No, you're right. You'd have made a good soldier, Fire. Let's go see if Fix is done interrogating him.
Okay.
So, maybe the good news is if you don't need to breathe anymore, then your snoring will stop keeping us awake at night. So, I guess we have that to be thankful for. You don't need to breathe, right?
No, I don't need to breathe. Therefore, there will no longer be the snoring. But I do think this new appetite of mine will face and
We
prove
can do something with that, though. I mean, we could find bodies and we could freeze them and keep them fresh for a while maybe, and then you.
Hope we're not intruding on anything too terribly important.
No,
Just discussing the finer details.
I was just
Freezing
telling-
bodies? We're
Well, there's a contingency, you know. We don't want to be out on the road and then Merlin gets the hunger. You know what he's like.
I just thought I'd be open with you guys. I'd let you know, well, brains will be on the menu.
like
You know, if you had told me that a month ago, I'd have thrown you out.
human,
this
like
point-
human brains, or just brains?
Animal
Any
brains.
kind of brains. I'm not
do, right?
picky.
Oh well, that's no different than you know, eating a deer or something.
I'm gonna grab the back of Fire's cloak and kind of start tugging her away from the group again, like, hold up, I forgot something, and back away again.
Yeah. I'll go with you.
Okay, hear me out. What if him eating things prevents him from decomposing? Maybe that's why he's got the sensation of hunger.
Then we find something with a brain.
Right. We go hunting, and we see what happens. See, my thinking is, hunger. It's not just... I mean, it could be an instinct, I suppose, but he's dead. How much instinct is there, really? I think it's more of a natural craving, because that's what's sustaining his body.
Yeah, there wasn't much instinct when he was alive, to be fair.
Do you think we're gonna have to keep an eye on him in towns now? Like, what if there's some guy walking around with thick glasses, big head, just looks like he's got a huge brain? You know, some really smart guy.
You know me, I say, let it go and see what happens, but if you...
I just don't want to get run out of town with pitchforks. Also, he looks kind of dead. I wonder if either... Okay, anyway, sorry. I wanted to pose that thought, but I didn't want to alarm him.
We do have to think about recipes? Keeping it... You don't...
Your job. I'm just
Okay.
walking away.
Yep,
Your job.
Smoothies. You know? Stew. Fried.
Well, I'll walk back over and see if they've started a new conversation or if they're both just waiting for us.
Just waiting for you at this point. I think we're both.
I don't
Curious.
think that rash is anything to be worried about. Well, so what's going on over here, guys?
You know, now that you mentioned being back on the road again, this does present another concern. We can't take him into a town looking like that.
I mean, there's a reason I
either
wear
of
the
you-
gauntlet, I guess. Maybe we can disguise it somehow.
Yeah, a mask of some sort. Do either of you have a spell that can alter his appearance temporarily?
No. I mean, maybe I could create an illusion around his head or something.
I feel... I mean, I've seen your illusions many times, though. They don't really move. I feel
Well,
like
what's
that
wrong
would,
with my
that would-
beautiful face?
That would draw more attention.
Let's ask Murlin. Murlin, what do you want to do?
He then pulls out his magic mirror. And he looks at himself. Well, I don't see anything wrong with my face.
See? That's
Can I
the
take a look
attitude
at
that I like.
mirror?
Positive
hand
up.
self-image.
He
I'll
hands
just
the
push
mirror over to Fix.
push the mirror down slightly. Merlin, it's what everyone else is seeing that's going to be the problem, not your self-confidence here. Could you, perhaps on the way back, work on a spell that allows you to disguise yourself, maybe? Because I feel like our lives are going to be much more
Are
difficult.
you telling me I'm not beautiful?
Yeah, Will.
I'm telling you, people are going to run us out of town with pitchforks and torches.
If imagine someone walks up and says that Merlin looks bad.
Well, we
I
wouldn't
don't
stand for that, would we?
Exactly. That's on them. They're rude.
Maybe in
Because
small towns.
Merlin
yes.
looks great.
Can I just like look at Fire? Like, are you serious?
It hurt me to say that. And you can tell for sure.
Right. Yeah, he looks fine, I suppose. Right.
Well, what now? Didn't you say there was something you were going to tell us about the visions you had before we got attacked?
Yes. Although, at this point, I feel like it's just a drop in the bucket and it doesn't change much, but regardless. The 3 ghosts out there by the tombstone. The first one said I was killed here for my lack of knowledge, yet I found the source. The second one said knowledge of the source saw me lost under Dandelo. Third said I followed the source into the ocean and upward to my doom. I'm sure you remember all this. The part that I didn't get to say was that after they were done speaking, all 3 of them saying their separate parts, they all spoke in unison. And they spoke directly to me, specifically. They said, our cause is now your cause. End the child of darkness. You race now against your own doom.
So we are aligned with a demon king. That's good, I guess.
It would seem that their interests and Shamzil's interests line up, at least for the moment.
Right. From what I understand, this child of darkness is ancient, very ancient, older than the demon kings themselves, which is... I suppose I have no idea how old they are, so... at least half my age. And the child of darkness is far more powerful than they. Killing the child of darkness would surely leave some kind of power vacuum. Not to mention the fact that... how do we kill something more powerful than a demon king?
We just killed a demon prince. Clearly they're not above being touched.
We didn't tell Fire about that.
Oh.
As it turns out also, Vita is somewhat related too, so that's fun.
Hold on.
Oh.
Can we go back to the where we killed a demon? What?
Yeah, so I kind of fill Fire in exactly what I said earlier. And well, I suppose the bad news is they do seem to know where we are, and they probably are going to be holding a grudge.
That's bad. Yep, that's all bad. All bad news.
And I do feel like if you're traveling with me, you are gonna have a target painted on you. But the good news is that Shamzil's pleased.
Yeah, and
also good news.
It's worth it being your buddy. You know, it's worth it.
Yeah, thanks, Fire.
Mm-hmm.
No. The other good news, he already had targets on us. So.
Well, sure, but not for the demon entities inside the mists.
Maybe they cancel each other out. The targets cancel each other out. Probably.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Gonna have to write a book on all this if we live through it.
Uh-huh.
No one will believe a word of it.
Well, I'm already dead.
I hold up my journal. Like,
only by everyone's... Yeah, you're dead. But you're alive in my heart.
Maybe we need a new word for what Murlin is.
Great.
Yeah. Inspiring. So much tenacity to be back here with us. Strong?
Dead? I keep going back to dead.
No, don't. No, dead is the bad word.
Touchy subject.
Touchy? No. Almost. Alive adjacent.
Differently alive.
Differently alive.
Not quite dead?
Not, yeah. I don't like dead in the...
affected by...
He's only mostly dead.
Death.
We could go with that.
I don't think Dad. We gotta get Dad out of there.
Fair enough.
So Arias wanted us to bring anything that we found at the grave.
I've had a moment to think about this. Do you think that Arias even realizes we're still alive? We've already established that he has holes in his knowledge and his influence. When we caught up with him at Som's Point, he was caught completely unaware. He didn't even see us coming into the building. I don't know that he knew we were there. He didn't know what was out here in the mist, so clearly his vision can't spy on everything out here.
What
If we just don't report... I'm thinking if we just don't report back to him, he may assume we died.
Okay.
And
That gives us
would
time to
be
go...
assuming incorrectly.
No?
I can't help but imagine he would have some way of finding his staff.
That's true.
Unless we ditch it, but I think Melon's quite attached to it by now.
I am not parting ways with this just yet, but,
Plus, he said
plus-
he would deliver one of your bandits to you.
1.
Better than
I
none.
want 3.
I mean,
I'm just trying to think of ways to buy us time. We need to go follow up on some of these clues we've picked up, but if we give Arias all the information, if we keep him up to date on everything that's happening, he's always going to be a step ahead of us. We need to find a piece of this puzzle that he doesn't have.
he doesn't
If
have
anything-
your visions.
What have we really learned from my visions, or yours for that matter, though, that we can actually use for an edge here?
Dandelo. The source.
We could go to Dandelo.
well, right before I came back, when I had that vision of the tower, I couldn't help but feel the need to be there before Arias. We need to get there before he does.
Get to... where exactly?
The tower.
And where is
Right,
the tower?
but do we know where this tower is?
No.
Was it in the mist?
Was
Even
this
I can't
tower-
be certain.
Was this tower on a cliff overlooking the sea, almost like a lighthouse?
Yes, it was. Have you seen this same tower?
I have. And I saw it when I went to the same place that you've just returned from.
Maybe we should ask the mists? I don't know if I should do it this time. My headache.
That's true. Well, we are already all the way out here. If we're going to... If we want to push further into the mist and find this tower, now's a good time to do it since we're already here. On the other hand, we have at least 2 places to follow up on that are outside the mist and therefore probably less likely to kill us.
And there's less demons outside the mist. It's always a good thing. Maybe it would be good to know where it is before we leave, and then we can make a better decision. I think you should
True.
ask Will.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
I think it's only fair. We've all been through a lot, and you seem to be okay.
I know. That's why I figured you were going to say that.
Perceptive.
I hate this. Where's your tower? Just gonna angrily demand this from the mist.
And that is
I
where
get ready
we're
to catch
going
him.
to a break for this evening.
I hate you.
And that is where we're going to go to a short break for the evening. My apologies for some of the tech issues tonight. My OBS is being strange.
Orias.
Let's discuss some things about Murlin. Murlin, you are a zombie and undead. You are the living dead and must maintain a diet of living or freshly dead flesh within 1 minute of death, in equal portion to the amount of food a living member of your original species would require. Your muscles require the same amount of rest that your original race would. So you do need sleep. I misunderstood a thing that I read earlier on. Thought for food. If you devour at least one mouthful of brain from a deceased creature for the next 24 hours, you can experience memories of their life. And undead fortitude. You are immune to poison and can't be poisoned. And also, when you succeed a death saving throw, you immediately gain 1 hit point. Once per long rest. So you're really hard to kill now, which is nice for you, who is constantly on death saving throws. But you are already dead. You did lose 2 dex. You gained +2 con and +1 strength. You lost your gnome cunning, and it was replaced by the undead fortitude. And so that is mechanically what happened between sessions for Murlin here. Also, you guys have unlocked the next tier of the sanity table. For fire specifically, fire can now no longer go past 80 sanity. 80 is now the maximum. And each time you drop 20, your maximum drops as well. So if one of you hits 60 sanity, then your maximum becomes 60 as well. So 3 of you have got 100 sanity as your max. Once you drop to 79, you can never go above 80 again. Fire has some permanent sanity effects. That would apply to each of you and things. There is a table that even the cast only have access to the 2 blocks of sanity that are available to them, 61 to 80 and 81 to 100. You get different effects for each one as you drop down. Thank you, Noodle Leith, for creating the sanity table. I will not be receiving. If you have any problems with it, then you may forward all complaints on to Noodle Leith at hotmail.com. I'm kidding, he's not old enough to have a Hotmail. So, a quick thing I want to do before the break this week, because I forgot to do last time or the week before, is announce the winner of our Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. This copy here. And drum roll, please. Fire.
Doodly 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 doo doodly doodly doo doodly 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 doo.
That's not a drum roll. That's one of those
Yes,
men
it
that have
is.
all of the instruments at once and walk around. The winner is Discord name at Scarecrow31.
Woo!
And if you are not here or you don't know, please, we will announce it in the Discord as well, and we will at you. And if you are here and you're aware, then please, in the Discord, contact one of the mods. You may just at one of the mods, or they will get in contact with you in a DM. So prepare to be contacted by someone from the Table Story crew, and we will get your details and send it out to you. We're going to go to a short break here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Last little announcement is that next Wednesday, we have a new show starting here on Table Story called Spellwind. It is brought to you by Mythomatic, who many of you will know as being a fantastic role player and player on several of our shows. This will be the first time he's DMing for us here. A new campaign, D&D. The players are Maya, a brand new kid, got some new blood on the channel, and also myself, Wax Steven, and PB, the core DMs of Table Story. And it's the first time we've all played in a campaign together as players. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I've got a hat. This is my cosplay. That's right. I will be cosplaying as one of the Peaky fucking Blinders. So please check that out. I'm going to run an ad for you now. We're going to go to a short break, and when we return, we will see what happened to Will. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.
Lord Creighton, we have reports of more sick in Walden. Denizens are blaming the crops, sir.
We will see what we can do. Smith, join our sworn sent to Walden. Find out what we can do. Keep the people in good spirits. We cannot afford to cancel the festival.
As he commands, Lord Creighton.
Will, you yell out. Would like 2 rolls from you. The first is a wisdom saving throw.
Getting right into the fun part. Here we go. That is a 17.
And the second is a constitution saving throw.
That is a natural 20, bringing it up to 26.
When you shout out, there is a brief sense of falling for you, as there always is. But you find yourself now still inside the Winter Hall. The thickness of the mist is quadrupled. It's like an intense fog. You can't see the back walls or maybe the ceiling, but the floor underneath you, the rocks, the bricks that had fallen remain the same. Murlin, Fix, and Fire vanish from where they were. And in an instant, almost as if you teleport, you find yourself in this sort of altered version of the Winter Hall here. Your body doesn't change this time. You don't get the sense of astral projecting or leaving your physical form. And there is a brief moment of dizziness, but no real sense of pain to your mind. And you're alone here. What do you do or say?
My surroundings, other than the mist, haven't changed?
No. You can feel the rocks underground even. Or underfoot.
Who's out there?
Everyone is out there.
Is that a sensation that I get, or is that a voice answering me?
Both. It's almost as if when you ask this question, you know the answer almost. You go from not knowing it to knowing it.
Who brought me back at the refuge when I fell?
Roll me a d10. There it
6.
is. That feeling of loosening you for the first time in the few seconds that you were here. wobble, your body feeling slightly less solid. Your mind twists away from your own understanding of who you are, what you are, where you are, and you take 6 sanity damage. However, when you do so, you get the answer that you brought yourself back.
How's that even possible?
Roll me a d10.
An 8.
The feeling of the stones under your boot disappears. Not as if you're floating or as if the floor is disappearing underneath you. You just lose the sensation of it. There is a horrible twisting as if your own soul or spirit inside your body suddenly turns around. You can feel it in your mind or in your brain most of all, as if someone has raked a pencil or has raked a spike down the back of your brain itself. The answer comes to you very quickly, though. You've done it before, several times. Your soul, your spirit has returned over and over again, endlessly. It doesn't stop doing it because you can't die.
I see. So here we go, round and round again. I want to steal my mind and use my own sanity restore in this place. I want to force through it.
You absolutely may do that.
I'm gonna dump the rest of my sanity points so that I can ask it another question. We'll continue this conversation again, but before I leave, the tower I saw when I came back, where is it? The lighthouse on the cliff.
It is not a lighthouse. It is a portal or an experiment. It is a place of arcane science. It is the home of the portal to the void, and the quickest way there would be to probably take a small vessel off the shore of Gore's Point and sail directly east as you did before. But only once.
As I did before. As Will? I'm trying to search my memories. Did I do this as me?
Roll me a d10.
5.
Will is you. That's who you are now. But only half of you belongs to Will. The other half belongs to the child. The child has been to the tower many times, but Will has never been.
I'll be back. We're not done yet. I'm going to attempt to leave of my own volition.
Indeed, you may attempt. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
That is a 15.
Something claws at you. Something grabs at you as you remove yourself from this place, from this consciousness that is the mist. Something grabs at you, but not in a way that it wants you to stay, in a way that it wants you to die. You get the sense that this thing wants you fucking dead. More than anything else, this is what this thing wants. It wants you to die and stay dead. It wants to rip the soul from your body, tear the piece of it that is will off, and throw it over its shoulder and consume the other piece. Moments later, and
Does it feel like this is the same thing I've been talking to? Or is this a different entity arriving at the end? I'm not asking. I'm asking you as a DM, yeah.
I'm trying to think how it would feel to you. I think it would feel like a more concentrated version of the thing that is providing you with answers. You get the sense that what is providing you with answers is just the fact that you are almost tapped in or plugged into the consciousness that is or is within the mist, and you simply become one with it. But it does feel like a flowing sea or an ocean. It isn't. It's difficult. It's like throwing 2 cups of water into an ocean and then trying to determine or try and recapture those same 2 cups of water. As it concentrates down, you get the sense that it is essentially the same thing. It is the mist itself. It wants you dead above all else.
If it's clawing at me in a way that I can physically reach, I want to like grab it by the throat and snarl at it as I'm leaving. But I'm not going to try and stick around.
I think there's an almost animalistic element to you and to the mist where it's not really a physical thing. You're not really a physical being at this point. There is almost these 2 wolves snapping at each other as the fog that is around you dissipates again. The forms of Fire, Murlin, and Fix return, though the world turns and shifts as you realize that once again you are laying down. But the transition this time for you was easy, almost as if you flipped yourself. Rather than calling out and being pulled away or falling into a great consciousness, this time you figured something out. You jumped and twisted into the other side of the mist here, the less physical side of the mist. Though when you return, that same sense of almost waking up returns to you. The others are looking at you. Fix kind of seems to have grabbed you, but is still lowering you to the ground. 1-2 seconds past Fix as Will shouted out, fell, you caught them, and then as you were lowering Will to the ground, he wakes up immediately again, a kind of snarl or a twist to his face.
Okay, alright, calm down. Okay. What the fuck did you see?
I know where the tower is.
Okay. And why did it make you want to kill me?
Not you.
Okay, good.
Mist and I apparently have a history.
Oh.
Sorry, I was not reaching for you.
Okay.
Not you. I was gone there for at least a minute in my own head. I was reaching for... There was something biting at me. If we play our cards right, if we rest up, everybody fresh, I need to go back into the mist. I figured out something important.
We're in the mist.
I mean,
Yeah.
not in the mist, in this way. The way I just was. I need to go back. There's more answers.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. What happened?
I wanted to find out where the tower was, same one that Murlin just saw, but I have other questions too. Not the least of which being, why am I even alive? So I started with that. And I now know the answer. It wasn't the mist or any demon in it that brought me back. I did it myself.
How does that work?
How's that possible?
It's a good question. And one I fully intend to ask next time I go in there. I do know this. I've been fighting these things for a much, much, much longer time than I can remember. A past life, reincarnation, something. I don't know. But I've gone into the mist before. I've confronted these things before. And I can only assume, since I can't remember anything, that it must not have gone very well. If I'd won, then I'd probably remember. But enough of me survived that I just got up. And if that doesn't make any sense, then believe me, we're in agreement on that part, but I know it's true. I know it's true. My memory is hazy, but I'm slowly peeling it back a layer at a time.
The visions, the people in the mist we saw at the grave, they were all you?
One of them was. The other two, I'm not so sure.
Right.
Aldarin and I are one and the same.
Right.
But the other two... The third one, the one that looked like a sailor. I've been him before. And the second one... The second one, I've never been him, but I've seen him. I saw him in Kull the day we met, that vision. He and I and that woman from one of the local tribes fighting side by side. That was me too, but I can't remember it.
Okay, and why did you want to go back in?
The same way that I can clear our headaches, I can push further in. I can demand more answers. And I can stave off the effect. But that would be very unwise to do in our current condition. Because I have to ration or budget my ability for all of us. Lest, we'll lose our minds. The headaches will take us. I have to keep everybody intact. But if we were rested up and I didn't have to worry about everyone, I could, direct my attention to pushing deeper. Maybe figure out what happened.
Right.
Well, you're so busy thinking about everyone else. I think you need to focus more on you. Maybe let's not be so hasty and contact the mists again. Who's to say, well, it'll end up the same way. What I'm trying to say is, you're lucky you came out unscathed. Who's to say you'd be as lucky the next?
Murlin, a minute ago, when Fix said I should go, I wanted nothing more than to say no and not touch this stuff. I don't want it anywhere near me. I want nothing to do with it. And yet now, I can't think about anything but going back. I have to know.
What is the question?
Who or what am I? This has been going on since before. This has been going on since before I was born. Does that make sense? I've been doing this since before I was born. Years back. Who knows how many? All I know is my consciousness, my memory, it stretches across more than just this lifetime, and I need to know what was going on. Because it's not gonna stop. I'm gonna come back again.
Until you've killed the Child of Darkness.
I think that may be the answer. But I can't say for sure. I think that's the obvious answer, being set in front of me on a platter. But life is rarely so simple.
This is going to be difficult to communicate to Arias without telling him anything.
What is?
He wants to help the Child of Darkness, and we want maybe to kill it. It's going to be tricky trying to figure out how we balance this. Where do we even start? Did the tower, that's what you went in for. Where is it? What is it?
I found it before. I'll just go back. It's to the sea in the east. I didn't find it. We found it. Other me's found it. The sailor, the ghost outside, the third one. He found it. And I remember.
In the sea.
I followed the source into the sea and upward to my doom. Whatever's at the top of that tower is going to try and kill us. I think it already killed me once.
Or you didn't get there.
I followed it upwards to my doom.
It doesn't say you got to the tower.
It's a sea. There's nothing else to go up. It had to have been the tower. Sorry. Sorry.
Yes. Understandable. I'm just trying to make sense of it myself.
I know this. There's nothing else to gain in the mist here, at least. We should head back. Back to Kull. West to Jairus. As a detour, because it's not that far out of the way. We go to Jairus and we follow up with that magistrate whose name is on that script. See if he's still alive, and if he's not, maybe a family, maybe he had a kid, wife, somebody that's outlived him. Maybe they'll know the answers. And if they know nothing, then we can head east to the sea. And at some point, Arias is going to check in on us, so we need to come up with something to tell him. It needs to be a convincing enough answer to satisfy him, but we can't tell him everything.
It should be the truth, but only a part of the truth. I have a feeling he will know otherwise.
Right. So what do we tell him?
We found the corpse of Eldarin and his companion, and his companion was simply hired to protect him. That's all we found. We can give him the note, I suppose, but we follow up ourselves first.
I know what I'll say. I know exactly what I'm gonna say.
What?
Can I just ask you to trust me on this one?
I trust you.
I trust you too.
We should head back. There's no good to be accomplished here in the mist anymore.
Agreed. Let's not delay.
We're not really in much of a traveling condition, though.
Let's rest.
Well, yeah. I agree. Much as I hate resting here in the mists, I think any immediate threat that was in this area, our demon prince over there has probably already driven off everything else. So we're probably safe for the time being.
Right.
Fire, you've been oddly quiet. Do you hear anything here we might have missed?
I'm just
Some
listening.
angle we're not looking at?
I just realized about halfway through your speech that it just sounds like the ramblings of a crazy person. But I mean, it kind of is.
Fortunately, I don't care if I'm crazy or not. I have a purpose in front of me and I'll do it. Let the others say what they want.
I just hope we make the right choices.
Same. Maybe we are all crazy. But it just so happens that everyone whose opinions I value are dead or standing in this room.
Well, or both.
I'm gonna put my hand on Murlin's head and kind of ruffle his hair when she says that.
You notice some hair falls out. Oh, well.
Okay, never mind.
So, you guys are going to take a long rest, I presume, here. With, each of you in the, this hall, there is, some time for you to lick your wounds, treat them, eat a little something, unless you're Murlin, and, sleep or rest in, such a way that you'll regain your hit points and your abilities. You don't regain any sanity points, but you do get all of your spells and things back. While each of you is resting and doing what you do over the next several hours, I want to ask what each of you is thinking at this point. What is going through Fire's brain? What is Fire thinking about over these hours?
About how insanely deep she is in this shit and where she started. She was just doing a job and now she's like, oh, wow, I'm so in this. I'm so deep in all of this, and it sounds insane because it is insane, but it's real because I've witnessed it. And I've had experiences that people wouldn't believe if I tried to explain it. It's just a lot.
What about Murlin? What is Murlin thinking over these next few hours?
I think Murlin is fighting everything in his willpower to not bite his friends. He is incredibly hungry.
Yes, you are starting to get very hungry. You're going to need food soon, or you are going to start to fall apart. And the hunger is going to become very overwhelming. But for now, you are able to hold it down without taking any exhaustion or having to roll any checks for me. That being said, at the end of this rest, you are going to be feeling it, at least in terms of hunger. What about Fix? What is Fix thinking? Or doing?
Thinking about my family and their relationship to the demons in the mist as well, and how Shamsiel didn't seem to know who I was or what I was until I got there and actually communicated, and how that might mean a little bit of hope for my family to live their lives a bit more freely. I'm also trying to suppress the idea of this wading into a war, and teaming up with this malevolently evil being, and inadvertently causing more pain and suffering to people and creatures she doesn't even know about.
And lastly, what about Will? What is going through Will's head over this time?
It's probably bouncing back and forth between two different things. One being, what am I? Where am I? What happened before? Why can't I remember? How did I come back? Doesn't make any sense. I was dead. But then again, I've cheated death before. But not like this. But then those thoughts are interrupted by just, it doesn't matter. 3 lives. Blood for blood. I'm gonna catch them. Some way, somehow. Wizards, undeads. The mist, demons, demon kings. They don't matter. 3. They're not getting away. I might get distracted, I might get off course, I might go check out this tower, but there are 3 and I'm going after them. Also, I did promise that I would talk to Murlin. So at some point during this rest period, I'm probably going to use an excuse like, I need you to start a fire or something with one of his fire spells, and use that as an excuse to kind of pull him away from the other 2 for a private conversation.
And you do so.
Murlin, give me a hand with this.
Oh, of course.
And I'll...
He sets a hand and starts to emit a flame.
I'll start piling up twigs and leaves and branches from just outside. I'll just, walk right outside and bring in a bunch of this junk and kind of put it in a neat little circle on the ground and point at it like, there you go, do your thing.
He then lights the campfire, and he sits not too close.
How are you feeling?
Hungry. If I was to be honest with you. But I can wait.
We'll try to address that when we head out, I suppose. Find you something suitable.
Luckily for me, I can still, communicate with the smaller critters. I guess it'll come in hand. Although, anyway, let's not talk about that.
Right. That was my first and immediate thought. I just wasn't sure how you'd feel about it. You changed.
Not entirely. I still feel I am me, just Well, just dead.
I changed too, although I'm not going to pretend that it's an equal trade. You got the worst end of it. So I'm not going to sit here and say something stupid like I know how you feel, because honestly, I don't. I know how I feel. A little bit lost, kind of confused. Mind full of questions, but you end up pushing them out of your mind in favor of chasing the purpose in front of you. At least that's how I do it. At some point, I wasn't even sure if I was me anymore, you know? When I know I should be in a grave somewhere. But I just had to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You were the one who started telling me I'm still me.
That is true, and I meant every word of it.
And you were right. Because whether you knew it or not, you were echoing my own father's words. When I was younger, he had a saying. He said it doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you believe, who you are, what your name is, none of it. You are what you do. Decisions you make, the actions you take, that defines you. So even with your fantastic new makeover, the red eyes, nothing else matters. Just what you do. Keep your purpose in front of you, yeah? We'll get through this.
I greatly appreciate the reassurance.
And if you wake up one day, just not even sure if you're you anymore, easy way to tell. Are you still doing the same thing you were doing? As long as the answer is yes, then you're still you.
You
Keep
have
helping people.
And I will continue to do so long as I still have that in me, but I can't promise it's always going to be like that.
I know. Some of it is out of your hands. I get that. If there's a way to reverse what happened to you, we'll see if we can find it. If that's what you want. But for the time being, we'll just all deal with it together.
Well, if there is no way to reverse this and I become... Let's just say I can't contain myself.
You don't need to finish.
Would you do it?
Without a moment's hesitation.
I would never forgive myself if I hurt any one of you. Especially Fire.
If it does come to that, I won't let you hurt anyone. Let's just hope it doesn't come to that.
I'll do what I can to keep it at bay and under control.
I was at a place called Sorrow Creek several years ago. When I was in the army. Just about everybody that I cared about died there. One of them, I had to kill her myself. She wasn't gonna make it. Too much blood, too many wounds, not enough medicine. I've had to kill my own friends before. If it comes down to it, I'll do it again. You have my promise on that.
I'm sorry it had to come to that for you, Will. No one would ever want to have to go through something like that.
We do what we have to. We are what we do, right? Stick close to me, though. I'll do my best to make sure we all get out of here alive. The answers are slowly unraveling, Marlin. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. It's just a matter of time.
We will get down to the bottom of it.
Yes, we will. Some of these questions are just my own, though. My own past. That's what I mean. I have to get to that, and I don't think anyone else can help me with it.
Well, regardless, we stand by you. We stand with you.
And I appreciate that. This sounds exactly like the stuff we told each other in my army days, and then they all died. Not gonna let it happen again. On that note, on a more constructive note, I need you to work on something. When we first met Arias at the cave, he did something. When Fix tried to cast a spell, he stopped it. And then, when we ran into him again in Sump's Point, same thing. He stopped it. You've seen him do it twice. When we're on the way back, in your spare time, maybe take a break from scavenging food and talking to animals. Can you try to copy what he did? Can you figure out a way to interrupt another wizard's spell?
Copy?
No, maybe not copy it. Maybe improvise your own method, but find a way to stop his magic in the middle of it. We know it's possible. We've seen him do it. And if anyone can figure it out, you can.
Can you find a way to stop this? And I just slap Will in the back of the head.
Hello.
Huh? Hello.
Come on up. We've started a fire.
Yeah, a fire.
Fix.
No? I was wondering if I could steal Murlin away for a moment, if you don't mind.
By all means, I think we're done. But Murlin, work on that. I think it'll save our lives at some point.
I'll do my best.
Was he talking about not eating people, or? What could save you're the lifesaver now, Murlin?
No, I mean, I'll try and avoid eating people, at most, well, I've, given Will the heads up that I'll only be, eating the little things.
Just to make this concrete in my mind, it's not human, right? It's just... It doesn't have to be human.
No, I'm gonna be straight with you, Fire. Human brains is definitely on the top of the list, but at bay, I will, if
You will
there's
settle
none of
for
that,
less.
I'll settle for less.
Okay,
Yeah.
well...
What about elf brain? Just out of curiosity.
they're so superior, I doubt you'd want to...
They'd probably taste better than you. Better
not
in
sure
every
about
way and all
You
that.
can say that's a brain food. Might have to, really think on that one.
You have to really think on that?
Obviously, Fire, I wouldn't dare, no. And he Murlin starts to dribble a little bit.
Well, I don't want to say this in front of Will, but I'm going to. If you're ever hungry and you need me to grab you a snack, I won't do that.
You are correct.
Oh.
You will not. There are plenty of animals roaming around we can go after.
Yeah, some of them on 2 feet.
Right. Yeah, those are the ones you're not going to touch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe there's some bandits dead on the road.
Yeah.
Might die. Somehow
Bad
quite
guys.
fresh. Yeah, there's ways around that.
Mm-hmm. And if I happen to start a fight in a bar and it goes south and the person is bad, and we learn that by investigating,
Maybe
then
not in a bar.
May have to check the bounty boards next time we hit a town.
I'm figuring it out.
Those who are dead, they can't really feel it anyway. Suppose it makes no difference. But the policy on why people end up dead has not changed.
We'll see.
No, we won't.
Maybe.
Or you'll
He
be
won't
traveling
see.
alone.
you won't see anything, I'm very sneaky.
Will, I owe you an apology anyway.
What for?
Quite a long time ago now, but well, it feels like months ago, but actually I suppose it was only a couple of weeks ago. I snapped at you, and I suppose it probably seemed petulant at the time. I asked you not to touch me. I simply didn't want you to figure out, see something, and freak out about it. So I apologize.
Given the circumstances, you were probably well within your right. But we're good. It's in the past.
Suppose we all know far more about each other than we'd ever anticipated to know.
Except this one. I'm pointing at fire. Except this one.
You know
ended
so
up being
much
the
about me.
you ended up being the most normal of us. Do you know how worrisome that is?
That is... Wow.
Normal is a subjective word.
That is
I
fucked
mean,
up, and that is coming from me.
And normal is subjective, but I feel like if we got 100 people and had them evaluate our little crew here, she's the normal one. Just saying.
I need to start killing people or something, don't I?
No.
You're supposed to say yes.
No,
I'm for it.
See?
the list of things that need killing keeps getting bigger and bigger. How about a Demon King of Fire? How's that strike you?
Yeah, we killed a demon's baby, or what?
A prince, I believe, was the
He's a
term.
prince. He was full. Look at the size of him. He was full grown. Had to have been 12 feet tall.
How do you
That's
know
no
that?
baby.
Not very edible for Merlin, though. Unless you like
Maybe the
it.
adults are
Very
Not my
warm.
type.
ginormous.
Merlin, I've seen you eat dirt. Don't tell me you have a type on food.
True. That'll be the last
Hypothetically
time you see
speaking-
that too.
I just want to get a kind of an answer from all of you on a question that I had. It just unrelated to anything. Let's say you hired a bodyguard, and you ended up dead, but they brought you back, but you were still kind of dead. Do you think the job is it? Did they do the job? Is the contract?
Maybe we should ask
No.
Eldarin. Might look at Will.
I think that's a really good question. I don't know. Generally, when I hire a bodyguard, I would think the point would be for me to not die. That's my perspective on it.
I don't know. Merlin, do you think Fire's done a good job?
Yeah, you know, I did hire her as my bodyguard. My body's still here, just...
Yeah, your
Yeah.
body is still moving around and intact. Sort of.
Yeah.
Mostly.
So. That's okay. Just, wondering.
But you should totally dock her pay.
Oh, I totally will.
You should double it. Because I brought you
Double?
back. Yeah.
Double?
Did I bring you back only because I hadn't been paid yet? Nobody knows. And nobody can possibly answer that. But
I just want to raise an eyebrow at her.
I'll take just the normal rate. You don't need to dock my pay.
What is
Yeah,
your rate? How much does Merlin actually owe you at this point?
Yeah, what
It
is
would be
the
in
price tag on
thousands
this?
Easily.
That will be determined once this journey is over and the job
No,
is
no,
complete.
no. You don't put a price tag on it afterwards.
Merlin,
Yeah,
again,
I'm
my
What kind of
biggest
business
challenge.
is that?
I have a list and I'm tallying up all the different services that I've been providing.
Okay, so what's it at
Excuse
right
me?
now?
Merlin, did you
Then
agree
what's
to this?
it up? What's it up to now then?
It varies.
Marlon, did you agree to a
Based on my
contract to? Did you agree to a contract to just pay her what she wants when it's all over? Was that the arrangement?
I was even actually hoping, we would eventually, build a bond, a friendship, where, it wouldn't really, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't even cost a thing.
Were you gonna pay her an exposure? Like just a recommendation to others? Excellent bodyguard, 10 out of 10.
I mean, yeah, I would have most definitely recommended Fire to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, referrals are very valuable.
they are.
Didn't you get ousted? Do you have any friends? Apart from us, of course. Present company not included.
Please tell me you're talking to Merlin and not me.
Yeah, of course, Merlin. Referring a friend.
Well,
I mean, I
believe it or
suppose that-
not, I did. And
I would
she
use
was
fire services, so...
she was actually my sweetheart, and even referred Fire to me.
The system works.
It does.
I'm sure I'll get paid eventually. And I just smile at Merlin.
Merlin just averts his eyes and then turns to look towards the fire.
Fire.
Mm-hmm.
You have +1 permanent HP.
Okay.
During the rest, you realize that your skin is extremely tough and dry.
Is it visibly different?
I don't think so.
Or do I just feel it? No? Okay.
Maybe when you scratch, it's very ashy, but not. There's not much physical difference, but you can feel that it's tougher, almost leathery at a touch.
It's not good for my skin being out here.
And you guys rest through the night. You successfully complete a long rest. There are no noises. Nothing creeps up from the fissure in the ground in this huge structure. There's no real sounds outside of every now and then a breeze passing on the outside and creating a hollow echo through the very large structure. Anybody that is doing any checks or patrols from the front of the building, you can see no real change. The hill leads down and back south the way that you came into this building, and the graveyard that spreads out from the other exit is still littered with those ghosts silently moving about between the gravestones. Other than that, there is no creatures. There's not really any sounds either. It's probably relatively uncomfortable. It's a lot more quiet than you're used to, whether you're in a town and you hear that ambience of a town, or even just out in a field, you would hear crickets and insects, birds. There's not many creatures here. It's not entirely barren of creatures, but there just doesn't seem to be anywhere near as many. So it's a quiet time spent resting. At the end of it, is a good question, actually. What is the time? I think you're good. It's still day 9, so yes. At the end of it, you get all of your hit points back, your abilities, and Will gets the lay on hands. Obviously, your sanity does not restore. All of the things that you get back on a long rest return to you. Is roughly 7 or 8 p.m. in the evening, but again, it's very difficult for you to tell out here, as it is perpetually dark. There are no hours of daylight, or at least that you're aware of or can see. But based on your best guess, you're looking at about 8 p.m. in the evening, once you feel rested enough to continue on. What are you doing? What is the plan?
I'd like to do a full check over of this winter hall now that we're not in danger, and just like see if there's anything that would indicate what it was used for, just from inside. Before we leave.
There is no. There's not really anything else in here, or anything that you guys find. I'm just giving you the free check because you've spent so much time in here and wandering around and patrolling and checking things. You've had plenty of time to take your time and look it over. It's very difficult to get to the other side of the fissure, but it doesn't look any different really over there. The walls are very plain. The outside walls, the brick and the structures that were out there are age-worn and wind-beaten in certain places. The walls on the inside are broken. Pieces of the natural mountainside that the building is built into have broken through, and the bricks roll across the ground, broken in front of you. They're old, but huge bricks that would have been impressive in this structure's heyday, but now they're just worn. There is no detail to anything. Whatever your best guess was when you first came in here is really probably the same best guess that you would have. There is a set of multiple structures outside, but they're little more than the idea of where a house would be. A few bricks, much more wind beaten and eroded through time, that lay out the idea that there was probably a very small village here. The idea of a tower, the idea of a house, the idea of a larger structure, but with the overgrown nature of the area and the huge amount of time, there is really no detail that you can draw from this as to what it might have been, how big this place might have been, and what this particular structure would have been used for. The only real detail that you can make out is the well-etched element that says Winter Hall, but again is also kind of an odd and loose translation for you, so it's not the ultimate piece of information. So there's almost nothing here that changes from your perspective from the first checks you did when you first arrived. Anyone doing anything else?
I
If
would like.
we...
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to look over Murlin and try to make it not very obvious to Murlin that I'm looking over Murlin to see if there are any signs of decay.
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think he looks the same as before, which isn't great, but just looks like a very pale and odd version of Merlin. Some of his movements. Merlin, probably throughout the night you find that your body kind of, if to really stretch your muscles out and keep them moving, or you sort of start to suffer a very light rigor mortis. But moving your body
fine.
around is it is able to remain lithe, while the blood in your body is probably thickening. It doesn't seem to be fully coagulating and hardening up. There is an element to this state of undead that is keeping you from being, just a complete frozen corpse. But yeah, you probably don't feel comfortable sitting still for very, very long. But yeah, there's not bits falling off of him, there's no skin peeling off of him yet or anything like that, but there will be. That much is sure, but it's not this quick.
Okay.
And then Will was going to do something.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if we're 100% satisfied that there's nothing else to find in here, then I'll propose we start heading back to Cole.
Yeah, I'm ready to
Everyone
leave.
good?
Ready.
And you would be following the same track as before, trying to sort of return to the. Well, you can follow the road and follow the road all the way down to Cole. You're not doing anything different. Just to check. Plan is to continue following the Great Road south.
So I have I remember. I don't know if our characters, if we actually saw this or if this was just like a Twitter teaser at all. But wasn't there a plan about heading west to the river and following it south to Jairus? Could we end up directly at Jairus?
Yeah, I'll give you what that was because you would probably recognize it as Will, since this was part of one of your visions. The map
I'm wondering if I remember it.
Section is kind of here. You get the sense that the river and the forest is here. So the arrow that was on the map, and I will do the blasphemous act of drawing on my own map, was kind of referencing this area. If you see the arrow just above Merrin's Keep. Nathan was suggesting that there is a tower here, a small tower, not the tower, but a watchtower here that he was able to use to navigate in and out of the mist. The river running here is presumably the river that they used, and keeping this sort of forest, while the plains area here remains plains, presumably in the mist. He kept this forest to his left and followed it all the way down to the road. So your route could take you through this way if you wanted to do that. But again, even navigating the mist is difficult. The reason that you were able to really stay on track here was because Fix asked Mist where to go. And the road, you guys lost the road a couple of times, and as soon as you're off of that kind of idea of a road, it gets really, really difficult to maneuver around in the mist. You guys got lost around here behind the mountains of Khal. So just so you're aware, essentially mechanically the DCs for survival checks and stuff like that, and encounters and things go up a lot when you're kind of moving off of the beaten path here. That being said, you are aware that it is just a matter of doing that.
We could barely even manage those checks on the open road to Som's point. I don't even want to think.
Yeah.
how bad it's gonna be in the
And
mist.
I
So
think
never.
that you would be kind of somewhat aware of that, however that translates to character. But you would also be aware, I think, Arias mentioned that he visited this tower here. So just inside the mist here, there is a small watchtower that Nathan, Eldarin, and at some point Arias have visited. And it was from there that Arias was able to glean the information about something being up here. That being said, it's entirely up to you how you want to do it, but it was these hexes here that were referenced in that vision of yours, which is a little off path from where you currently are.
Right. Yeah. No. I wanted to figure out exactly where that was referencing, but if we did that, we'd have to cross the Skull Mountain and then cross a river and then like 3 unknown hexes. So
what could possibly go
not
wrong?
a chance. Yeah. Nope. Back to
Seems
straight
fine.
south.
If you scroll
Straight
down
south.
and move to where Gofreda and Gore's point is, I gave you and this really is Will, the rough idea of where that the tower is. You are very aware that it is basically there, and that's where you need to be headed towards. So that's just kind of a Will thing, but that is the location of the tower, according to the information provided to you by the mist. So, yes. What is the plan of attack?
Yeah, well, seeing how far out of the way that is, I'm all in favor of just following the road straight south.
Yep.
Least chance of getting lost.
Then, we shall begin the journey. Let's get a couple of rolls to start us off. Is anyone doing anything during the first half of a day travel here to anything specific? For example, Murlin might be looking for brains, or Fix might have Vita scouting something. Fire might be watching behind you guys. Is there anything specific, not in a general sense, that you guys would want to do while you guys begin tracing your own footsteps back? And the first half of travel here is very easy for you guys to keep on track, because you have the road, the kind of broken but ancient looking road that leads from Col to Winter Hall. Basically, that is what the road is. What, if anything specifically, are you guys doing?
Vita and I will be working together to try and sense any more like demonic sort of presences through Vita, and just be hyper alert of anything coming our way.
Vita is a Prince of Fire. He is a sort of bastard grandchild of Balmoth, and as such, roll me a perception check with Vita.
7. Always a 7, I swear.
Okay. Anyone else doing anything else?
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna get all your rolls first, and then tell you how the half day's travel went. That's what's happening.
Are you asking for our like travel checks or like other specific?
No,
stuff?
just anything specific first up front, and then we'll do a set of travel checks for basically the entire travel. Unless you guys have got anything you want to do. There's a lot that you could be potentially doing on the road, so I want to cover that.
I don't think I have anything that I can do in particular on the road.
It's not. It doesn't have to be a skill that you have. It can be just a general. If there's anything specific outside of your skill set that you would potentially be doing, or if you're looking for anything in particular, it could be anything. But
yeah, I can't really think of anything that I'd be doing. I hit thing with sword bread.
Yeah.
With sword. I don't have any other applicable. Actually, no. There is one thing. As we're passing this Skull Mountain thing, I will try to observe it carefully and see if I can glean any more insight as to what the heck the Skull Mountain is. Just do that.
Okay. You can give me an investigation check.
Okay. Investigation, my strong suit.
Merlin doing
Zero
anything?
There we go.
Yeah, Merlin's gonna do something too.
What are you doing?
I think Merlin would look back on his conversation that he had with Will, and he will try and hone the ability to counterspell.
How is it that you are able to understand this spell, and maybe while traveling along you're scribbling in this spell book of yours, then scribbling out an incantation, ripping a page out and throwing it behind you kind of situation, as you slowly determine what the factors are, what a counterspell even is, and how you would do it from what you've seen. You are successful. You have the counterspell spell now, but do you know the process that Merlin goes through and what it is that he's thinking or doing when he does it?
I think he looks back on the encounters that they had with Arias, and just how dangerous and how powerful he is, and in order to be able to at least not really match, because, well, he knows he's nowhere near as powerful as Arias, but anything to at least maybe balance or withstand. I think he then, comes to the senses of gaining this ability to protect his friends.
And is Fire doing anything on this journey back?
Fire is probably for the first time in a long time actively guarding Merlin's body. Actively being a bodyguard, hyper vigilant, paranoid, also a little bit insane. So just paranoid, making sure that Murlin is safe.
Okay. Vita does not have any sense of any of these demons nearby, and neither do you on this travel. In fact, where you are right now seems incredibly barren. There are no sightings over the next few hours of anything. There are no creatures, there are no pale ones, there isn't a roar from a creature deep within the mist. It's very silent traveling, apart from your own footsteps and the scribblings of Merlin's book. Every now and then Vita will scout around, and there's no real sense of any creatures or any monsters. Merlin, roll me a perception check.
Oh, okay. 6.
The entire time you are all walking along, behind Merlin is an oily little creature. It has evolved a little from the last time we saw it. Every time Merlin does something, it does something. It is maybe 10 inches tall. As it's walking along, it has little oily feet, almost like a claymation of a creature following along, leaving little oily footprints that after a moment catch up with itself and rejoin the creature. It has created a form of a small book and quill, and it is writing in it, and every now and then it tears an oily page off and throws it behind it, the globule hitting the ground and then slowly catching up with the moving form. It is almost a perfect replica in oily black and blue of Murlin as it follows along behind Murlin. Murlin, deep in thought and concentration, does not notice this creature following him, and the other three of you simply cannot see it. For you guys, it is entirely invisible. It might not even exist. As it follows behind Murlin, Murlin, you don't witness it, but other than that, there are no creatures here, or anything that seems to come out of the dark and come for you. Eventually you come to the mountain that has a skull on the top of it, and Will, you look up to see what's up there. The skull remains. It's the same thing that each of you would have seen before. A skull that represents what your skull might look like. Really, Will, I don't think you come to any new conclusions as to what this might be, but the difference this time is that you are pretty damn convinced there is an extra element that you pick up on, that this is your skull. It is an odd, strange mirage or illusion that is being projected by this mountain of you, of what your skull looks like inside your own head. And as each of you maybe discusses it, you get the sense that the mountain projects your own skull up there, of what you each might see. What it is, what the mountain is doing, what the illusion is about, you don't know. You can see several ways of potentially climbing the hills around it and moving into the mountain to maybe go in there and look around, but it is entirely up to you. If you really, really want to know what the skull is about, and it would require you to head on in deep inside the mountain within these mists, and risk whatever is inside. Presumably, you will walk on.
Yeah, the technical term for that is a big old pile of nope.
Yeah.
Just, no, south.
Barely
Give it a
even
lingering
consider
glance.
it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
You guys move past the mountainous range and further away from where this village in Winterhall is. There are points that come up where the road disappears away from you, but you continue, hopefully, heading south. So, we're going to do a set of rolls at the halfway point of your travel. The first of which will be a wisdom save for anyone, as the clock strikes midnight
Hate that.
elsewhere.
You mean we all roll wisdom saves or just one of us?
All of you, please. We're at the beginning of day 10.
I love that -1.
Shut up! Shut
A
up!
natural 19. Let's see here. A 17, a 19, an 8, and a 10. 8 and 10 from Will. You two need to roll me a d10.
Oh boy, here we go. A 5.
And a 1 from Murlin. Merlin,
1.
it is, you have a very light headache after walking through the mists today, as you take 1 point of sanity damage. Will, however, takes 5 points of sanity damage during the travel, and as another 24 hours pass here in the mist, you suffer.
Is that the first and only point Murlin has ever lost? He's been at 100 for like.
I think maybe. Yeah.
Got a very durable brain.
Yes, Merlin, you've start to succumb to the horrible whispering and the pain, but it would probably just feel like a little headache above one of your eyes. Will, however, is probably not feeling too great, I would presume. How is your sanity at? Let me check.
It went from 91 to 86, and I am just pushing it back up to 91.
Okay. So during the travel, you can do that. And
also at this point, since I don't want to risk somebody else's brain breaking, can there's only 2 of you. What's everybody's?
you can dish
else's
out as you
sanity's
wish.
at?
Yeah, on this travel.
Yeah, I want to make sure I don't let somebody, break their brain.
73 out of 80 for me.
Okay.
87.
You're missing 7 and you're missing 13. I'll give 2 to fire and then 5 to fix.
Much obliged.
Thank you.
And then I'll hold the precious last couple in case someone's brain is about to break.
Yes. Okay, so who is scouting, who is navigating, and who is doing anything else on your travel tasks here? Is anyone doing anything particular here? Because this is where you come off of the beaten path and begin, and we'll need to make checks to ensure that you do not become lost, and scouts will ensure that you are not attacked by something, or at least if you are attacked by something, we'll know that it's coming to get you. Murlin, you can potentially forage for the very terrible and awful things here that you might be able to use in potions. Yes, nobody roll anything yet, but tell me what you want to do, declare.
Is it possible for me to just help someone else instead of taking my own role? Like, lend advantage to somebody that way? Is that a thing we're allowed to do or not?
No. I'll say no.
Okay. In that case, I will assist with navigation.
Okay.
Navigating.
Navigating.
Can I help Murlin forage?
You can forage.
Yeah, I would like to do that. I'll forage for Murlin.
All right. Give me survival checks, everyone. Much will be foraged. And much will be survivaled. Everyone roll me a D12.
How does that keep happening?
Uh-oh. And that's where we end today's session.
No! You can't end on an uh-oh.
You can't say
I just did, I'm afraid. I'd rather spend the week preparing it. Because you did forage some nice things that may be of use to you once you're out of the mist. If the thing that none of you scouted for doesn't get you. Actually, you know what? Roll me a D6, please. Fix.
Goody. Another one.
Dear.
This is gonna be my last week of the campaign. It was good.
That is a natural 1 and a natural 1 on your random encounter.
Uh-oh.
That is an uh-oh just before. So about halfway through your travel between the Winter Hall and Cull, something will be happening. But we'll also forage some cool things, I'm sure. I will make a note of the rolls for myself. Yes?
Look on the bright side. Maybe you were rolling for how many of them we ran into. Yeah. There's only one.
Maybe.
It's amazing.
One
very true.
girl.
That might be
Or
what it was.
how many of us would be swallowed whole?
Yeah. So let's do a quick set of shout outs. Find out where you guys will be during the week, what you're up to, where people can come and find you to do it. Just before we do so, reminder that we do have final winner of the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft in the Discord channel. And that person was called, was it Scarecrow, Skycrow, Malcolm, Scarecrow 31. Right? 31. I drew a 13, but I asked for 31 and whatever he says in the Only Offspring song I don't like. The one everyone likes. Scarecrow 31, you have won a copy of Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Thank you to Wizards of the Coast as well for sending us copies to hand out to you lovelies. So please get in contact if you are watching on VODs and things. Check out our Discord. There is a message for you. Let's do roundup shoutouts then. Let's start with Fairlight this week. Where are you at? What are you doing?
I am Fairlight_Excalibur on Twitch, and you can find me live every day playing random games in US evening time starting around 8 p.m. Pacific. And what am I even playing right now? I don't know. It's been different every day.
Find out!
It's been different every day. We're doing a RimWorld binge right now. That's what it is.
Nice. Yeah, have you done the ideology stuff?
That's what I'm doing right now. I picked a random, and for those that don't play the game, they've just released a thing where you can choose a culture or an ideology or a religion or a philosophy for your colony. And since it was my first time messing with it, I just picked one random. I saw one that was called like Strong Family Values. And I thought, it's all about family, right? Dominic Toretto would be proud. So I clicked it. And I even named my colony like Torettoville, And as soon as it starts, I like click on my colonists and I like look at the mood thing, and it's like, we don't have any slaves yet. I'm upset. I'm like, what kind of family values is this? So basically, I'm running a slave trading colony now with no idea that that's what I was signing up for. So that's me.
You're a monster.
It's a strong family.
It's a very strong family. So how's your week going? So that's where I'm at.
So, there, you just check out Fairlight if you want.
if you dare, at this point.
Yeah, what about, you, Brian? You play RimWorld, you should stream it.
I am going to be coming back to streaming soon, Brad.
Yay!
There you go. That's okay.
That's
Never
pressure.
mind. Not with that
That's
dance
peer
move that you
pressure.
did.
That's how
I'm
I started
changing it now.
smoking as a 13-year-old boy.
I'm never coming back because Brad did that dance after I said that, and it hurts me. And nope, he's doing it again. I quit twice. I double quit now. No, but I don't know what I'm going to be playing when I come back yet. But I've been playing RimWorld Ideology off stream, and I'm so addicted to it, and I'm so happy that you're in it. You're into it now.
Hold on. Did your colony suddenly spring an intense desire for slave trade on you like mine did? 'Cause that caught me out of left field. I'll tell you that.
Hypothetically speaking, I made my own religion, and the first colony that I made were cannibalistic slave traders, okay? And that's just the way it goes.
Sensing a pattern here.
I committed a lot of war crimes, so...
Yeah, well, the pattern is she picked that on purpose.
Yeah, at least you could say it was an accident. I did it on purpose.
I just wanted to make Vin Diesel proud, man. That's all I wanted.
Who knew that Vin Diesel was actually a cannibalistic slave trader all along? Anyway, you can find me at
These are
Brutal
not
Free
the
everywhere
official
on the
thoughts
internet.
of Table Story.
They might be.
It might be.
They might be.
Depends.
I'm
Depends
a
on who you
co-owner,
ask.
and I can tell you now that Vin Diesel has definitely eaten people at some point. Come on, no, I'm kidding. He seems lovely.
He ate his family.
He genuinely seems nice.
You've
He
seen
seems
him
okay.
you've seen him in the trailer for Ark 2. He's probably eaten a lot of people.
Yeah, and dinosaurs.
Truth.
Oh yeah, he's a D&D nerd. Vin Diesel.
Hell yeah, you. That's my boy. All right, well, that's Brutal Bree on Twitch again at some point soon. Check it out. What about twitch.tv/DisbyArix?
Hi, I'm Dispy. I played Murlin for you today. Well, now dead. Undead Murlin.
Undead Merlin.
You can find me here at Twitch and Twitter, DispyArix. And, yeah, I play games.
All right, that's what we do on Twitch. What about you, Leah?
Hello, I am Leah. And you can find me at twitch.tv/Leah. Also
Okay,
playing
that's it.
games.
We're done. I'm going to the outro. I'm kidding. Anyway, go on. What's going on? Why does this always happen? Why do we fall apart the moment? Like, can't wait for the stream to end. We get to the point where the game ends, and then it's just like it.
The brain power goes into the game.
Yeah, mine does it as well. As soon as I go, that's the end of the session. My brain goes, and it's off. Boom, it shuts down.
Now we're talking about Vin Diesel eating people.
I've got no idea where I am or what my name is.
Yep.
And then I'm like, "What's your name?" And you're like, "Oh, maybe Leah."
Maybe I'm somewhere else today. Mistlight After Dusk, though, tomorrow at 10 p.m. on my channel. Come over. It's a good time. This week, you're going to decide what we talk about, and I'm going to sit there and agree.
What?
And that's going to be the show. Yeah.
You're doing something
Crazy.
special?
Wow. Yeah. It's Chat's Choice. Theorycraft edition. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, boy.
Chat's Choice. It sounds like one of the magazines that my nan would read. Chat's Choice.
I used to read those.
Yeah, you know those? Exactly the ones that I'm talking about. They all look the same.
I watched her murder my husband in front of me with 2 spoons.
yeah.
That
My
sounds
husband came back as an undead gnome. Yes, so there's plenty to discuss on Mistlight After Dusk tomorrow. I want to remind everybody that we have a new show. It will be starting next Wednesday, which is before the next episode of this. It is called Spellwind. It has an all-star cast. I will try it and play the trailer again, but twice it has crashed my OBS, and OBS crashed twice before the stream started today, and also crashed for no reason at some other point during this, and I don't know what's happening, so hopefully I can get it fixed for next week. It's Arias. He's getting annoyed. He wants to know where you are. He probably thinks you're dead because you guys sent him a message like, "Can you help?" And he's like, "With what? I don't And that was the end of it.
Help!
Can I just say how much I love that Murlin never told us that?
I love it, yeah, because Murlin always does this stuff in his head. He's like, "I will fix it." And he does some he gets some bomb of information. He's like, "I now know. Anyway, I'm gonna eat some dirt and die," and it is incredible.
I'm gonna eat some dirt and die.
Yeah.
Eat dirt and die.
Never relays the information.
Eat dirt and die.
And it's
We
my
need merch.
favorite thing.
See, that was the thing I was getting at when I was like, well, what if Arias thinks we're all dead? And then I was like, wait, Murlin never told us that he sent that message, so Will can't use this plan.
Yeah, Murlin gives no shits about your tiny living brains, apart from the fact that he wants to eat them now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You say that till he's like,
where can people find you, Brad?
Yeah, Brad.
Come to my house. I'll be there. I will be there.
Bring cake.
Please bring some cake. I am currently streaming Suikoden, which is JRPG. It's Pokemon with people. And so not too far off what Fairlight is doing with his RimWorld playthrough, I guess. I am streaming every day, and sometimes during the time of my stream, I give up and PB overtakes, which has been happening a lot. It's called the PB panic button, and then PB becomes the streamer for a little while. So it's been very fun, and that's it, I guess. Make sure you check out all the other things we do on Table Story, and check out the Discord for theory crafting if you want to theory craft, or you can go on over to Mistlight After Dusk and theory craft. There was a lot of things that came out today that I think will probably need some thought. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Peace out. Bye. I'm not on the screen. All right, I'm done.
Wait, you've not been on the screen.
I've been on the screen the whole time. Bye.
The world's a tavern in flames, what happened, whoa ho. A tale, a song to tell of the wrongs, whoa ho. This story of a wizard on the run, the family of the tavern mind-controlled. They suffered, screamed, they felt alone. This evil sensed by our godmen. They stood, they fought, then blood and hardship came. The family couldn't be saved. The wizard, he escaped. Their lives were lost that day. The floor of the tavern laid their corpses, dark magic in the air. Evil happened there. The sworn, many that day fell. We stand to mourn them now. The tavern cleansed with fire. As the light was spread, darkness retired. We watched it burn.
Close. But it's not exactly how I remember it.